We've gathered 3 professional chefs to blind taste test every supermarket salsa brand we could get our hands on to see which ones meet their standards. Tostitos, chunky salsa.
This looks like the salsa that I grew up eating.
Classic Sunday football game salsa. This is a salsa roja, very chunky salsa.
It's got some tomato puree or concentrate.
What I'm looking for in a jarred red salsa is something bright, something nice and acidic that still tastes fresh even though it's jarred.
You don't want a salsa that tastes like just preservatives.
Can't be too dry and it can't be too runny.
What I'm looking for in a salsa, it's scoopability. It stays on the cheap and you don't make a mess on your friend's couch.
I want the salsa to be the appropriate texture for what I'm gonna use it for. Eggs, chips, tacos, enchiladas. In a good salsa, you need a good balance of flavor.
A little spice, have a little acidity. You want to have a tiny bit of sweetness, savoriness, something that's really going to excite all of those senses and all of those taste buds.
Has like a marinara flavor.
It tastes really like canned tomatoes.
You wouldn't normally see a tomato concentrate or a tomato paste in a fresh salsa. They would use it in a jarred salsa because it's like a natural thickening agent and it's a little more shelf stable.
As far as textures goes, I think it could be slightly thicker.
But I wouldn't say that this necessarily tastes fresh. Like a concentrated tomato punch, instead of like a fresh salsa, you get to smell all the different elements a little more. This one I think is pretty balanced for a store-bought tomato salsa.
Where it does work is when you get a chile, you can taste that you got a chile.
Mild heat makes you want to go back to it and eat more and more. This salsa is not bad. Like I would up a whole jar of these watching TV, sorry. This is the Tostitos one.
Ooh.
See? It's basically tomato, onions, and jalapeno peppers.
A lot of tomato sauce.
Tomato puree, diced tomatoes in tomato juice. That's why there's so much like tomato flavor.
The only preservative, I guess, is potassium salt.
Super generic.
I don't want to eat this. This would be one of those like necessity buys.
Maybe I like it because of nostalgia.
Herdez, salsa casera.
At first light, I'd say this looks a little more natural.
The Tostitos looked a little thicker, like it had something in there to thicken. This one looks a little thinner.
I would really anticipate that this would taste like so much better than it does. I can't get away from the tomato.
Like it looks less canned, but it tastes more canned.
It's got a little more salinity. It's got a heat at the end.
See some herbs in there, so it's probably some cilantro in there, but I don't get the taste at all. The shelf life of herbs is not really long. Sitting there in the jar just completely lost the flavor. It's a little watery to me for this type of chunky salsa.
I don't like it.
Herdez, salsa casera, medium.
Man, they don't make it like they used to.
This one has calcium chloride, a mineral salt used to keep tomatoes or vegetables firm when they're being heat processed.
Citric acid to acidified, which also you can taste. And the tomato says just tomatoes, but they don't taste as fresh. So that tells me that maybe it's better to use canned tomatoes for salsa than fresh tomatoes.
Cholula, original salsa.
A much more blended salsa.
More watery than the previous two for sure. See how it's dripping?
It looks like the tomatoes were probably roasted first. Roasting, it's gonna help deepen and concentrate the flavor, but it also helps remove some of the water content, so it creates a thicker product.
Oh, I don't like this one. It just feels too spiced.
Really heavy on cumin. It's not generally used in like a table salsa.
It is very, very, very salty. I need a beer. Texture-wise, it's pretty good.
This is almost getting to the level of like ranchera sauce. Like a tomato-based sauce that is used for breakfast. Still chunky, but it's more homogeneous and all around smoother.
This is a roasted salsa, so you're expecting a more cooked flavor, more smokiness.
Surprisingly, the roasted tomato flavor is not coming through as much because I'm getting so much cumin.
It's a Cholula one.
Cholula's original medium salsa.
I am tasting a Cholula-ness to it now that I know, and I don't know if it's like sort of like placebo effect, but Cholula has vinegar, so I'm feeling that.
This one's got tomato and tomato paste. It does say it has cumin, jalapeno peppers, and arbol peppers.
Arbol is a very spicy chili. They probably have a tiny amount because you can really feel it. Very cuminy, and it's weird because I love cumin. It's not coming through as fresh in this salsa. I'm sorry, Cholula. You've disappointed me.
Jalapa jar, fresh salsa.
This one's got everything going on. Super busy, but it's kind of exciting. Right off the bat, It's spicy.
Got a little more heat than all of the rest of the ones that we've tried so far. Texturally, I think this is nice. Again, this is a good chip salsa. It tastes relatively fresh.
To me, freshness is that you can taste the ingredient, that they haven't been processed to the point of losing their identity.
It is a balanced sauce. I do love a roasted salsa. I think it's also a good way to preserve flavor and freshness. You get like a Maillard reaction, so it becomes more umami. You're also evaporating water content. Automatically get a thicker.
The acidity is pretty strong. I feel like it tastes a little bit more like lime than just citric acid.
You don't see lime juice as often as a preservative or acidifier in jarred salsas because the lime juice breaks down during heat processing and it becomes a little bit more bitter.
To me, it's like the excitement in your mouth. Like, are you having a fiesta or are you not having a fiesta, right? This is the first salsa that I have that is actually like a little fiesta.
Jalapa jar.
Real lime juice.
This comes from a refrigerated section.
So you don't need all the chemicals that you need to maintain texture and flavor.
I like this salsa, it's good.
It definitely has the balance and it definitely hits all the criteria.
Green Mountain Gringo, medium salsa.
This one looks very processed. It doesn't look very fresh. Sweet, very sweet.
Feels like a pasta sauce. I don't feel like we're hitting the balance of flavors here.
The texture is nice because it's a blend of puree and diced tomatoes, so it's a little bit thicker.
Salsas range from very chunky to something completely pureed and smooth. Smooth salsas is more for like tacos, quesadillas. Once you start moving towards chunkiness, it's more for like scooping. Like the scoopability is down to probably a 2 or a 3 out of 10. It's too watery for the purpose. This is probably my least favorite so far. Green Mountain Gringo.
This has pasilla peppers in it. I'm not really tasting them, but pasilla peppers are the dried red version of a chilaca pepper.
You have your fresh peppers. When you dry them out, you basically change the name.
Pasilla peppers have a little bit of a sweetness as a chili pepper.
I don't taste it and I don't see it. Like, you know, pasilla pepper is like particularly dark.
So this is where we talk about a salsa like being a dip with chips, right? Which is not Mexican. If you have salsas de mesa, you're not gonna dip. It goes on your food.
Mateo's, gourmet salsa.
It smells heavily garlic.
Those sound like minced chicken pieces. I think it's dehydrated garlic.
There is like a smell and a taste to like garlic salt or garlic powder that is not the same as having garlic.
Strong cumin flavor again.
Even more overpowering than that last one that had a lot of cumin.
I'm not really excited to have another chip.
Texture-wise, it's fine. It's not too far removed from the last one that we tried. It looks like it's gonna separate a lot as it sits in this bowl, and you're not gonna get a lot of really good chips.
Low acidity. It's not really tangy. Kind of like boring and underwhelming.
Mateo's Gourmet Salsa. I've never heard of this one.
And it says medium heat, which is a complete lie. It's like no heat at all.
They've added water and they've added all this dehydrated garlic.
I guess like you need the yield, so the more water, the more you get. Definitely not the more flavor.
Late July, medium salsa.
This to me is like ranchero sauce consistency. Still chunky, but it's more homogeneous and like all around smoother.
This is pretty balanced. The spice is up front, the salt is perfect.
Nice sweetness from the tomatoes, but it's not like in your face. It's got a brightness and acidity that I enjoy. I like this for chips.
It tastes like fake lime juice. I don't think the freshness is there.
Some ingredient that they're using that has a flavor that I'm not really sure what it is.
Late July snacks.
This one has organic diced tomatoes. I don't think that you can detect what an organic product tastes like. They just paid the right amount of money for this stamp.
Organic potato flour, which I guess they use as a thickener. And it also has water, so they added water and then they added a thickener. See, lime juice concentrate. The more salsas I try, the more convinced I am that you shouldn't use lime juice in salsas that are gonna stay for long periods of time.
They say they have like natural flavorings. For all we know, they're using like an apple flavoring. It has like a fruity flavoring in it that is not specified.
Ithaca, medium salsa.
This one looks so different. It's very bright. In a jarred product, the color of all the ingredients starts to dull over time. So when you're able to retain this much color, there's the likeliness of something being a little fresher.
This is the first one I see with red peppers. It's not really spicy. The greener the pepper, usually the spicier.
The texture of it's really good.
The perfect example of chunky and watery at the same time. Look at all that water.
The liquid part of the salsa still has a lot of flavor. It's actually spicier than the chunky part.
I like this one because there is a freshness to it. This one's really heavy on the garlic.
I do get a hint of fresh garlic that I didn't feel with any of the other ones before. It's tangy. I think the acidity level is good, is what we're looking for.
The balance is good.
Taste the onions, I taste the tomatoes. I feel like I'm getting all the flavors. It's bright.
Cilantro stems in it, which actually have a lot of flavor.
They look greener than any other of the salsas that we tried as well.
I'm feeling pretty good about this one. Oh.
Ithaca.
Ithaca salsa.
Ithaca is so like not Mexican.
This makes sense for why it's so bright, because this looks like it's also a refrigerated product like the Jalapa jar one.
So it has jalapeno peppers, which are the red ones. Red jalapenos are not as spicy as the green ones. I would have used serranos. It would have been a perfect salsa. I don't understand why they added water. Again,
I think this is one of my favorites so far. This is the freshest flavor.
Pace, chunky salsa.
Has that same kind of like Tostitos appeal.
I could turn it upside down and it would stay in the bowl. It tastes definitely processed.
Texture is a little mushy, even though there are diced tomatoes in here.
that's the thing. If you're making a chunky salsa, you need to have the texture of the ingredient. It does taste like it has some kind of like tomato paste.
There's a decent amount of salt in there, but not getting all the vibrancy of all the other flavors.
I would like it to be spicier and crunchier.
You know this one.
Pace, here we are, tried and true, tried and untrue.
Maybe if they would have put the calcium chloride, it would have preserved the texture a little more. Like this is the kind of salsa like you cook with. I don't think it's the kind of salsa that you eat by itself. Stew some beans in it. I will use it as something to braise maybe pork in it.
Siete, Casera, Salsa Roja.
Muy tatemada. This is a really charred roasted salsa.
It looks like a salsa that I would eat.
It's definitely scoopable.
Spicy. Spicy.
A sharp heat at the back. It's got a smokiness on it. I can taste the tomatoes. It's got a good garlic. The acidity is nice.
It's very well seasoned. A little more complex in flavor.
This one does taste like there's different peppers in there because there's almost like a chocolatey-ness at the back of it.
Probably has some kind of like dark dry chile. Dark dry chiles have more complex flavor basically because they've been dried. Dry chiles bring out hints of smoke or like chocolate or raisins, things like that.
Texturally, it's good. I think that this would be a really versatile salsa.
The flavors are really consistent throughout the salsa.
Pretty solid salsa.
I've heard of this brand. Siete brand, spicy salsa. That would make sense. They have good chips.
Casera style, so this is like the homemade style again.
Serrano and habanero peppers in here.
A serrano, as they're hybridizing now, is much more like a jalapeno used to be. Super spicy and super fruity.
I would have gone with vinegar instead of lemon juice concentrate. Because I think also like the juice just loses power over time.
Mission, chunky salsa.
All right, we're back to the boring diced tomato, canned tomato. Look alike, they all look the same.
Very, very mild. It's not spicy in the least.
This one doesn't really have any balance for me because all I taste is tomato, but it's like tomato juice. Texture-wise, it's fine. It's chunky. It'll hold up on a chip.
This doesn't give any kind of fresh vibe.
Definitely sweeter. Tomatoes have different like levels of sweetness depending on when are they peak, what time of the season were they canned or salsa. I wouldn't necessarily choose the sweetest ones. I would try to preserve a little bit of that natural acidity that they have. Overall, like it falls very flat in my opinion.
Mission, chunky salsa, medium.
I mean, it said 0% added sugars, but then it says sugar in the ingredients. That's funny, no?
This one also has some water in it. It's trying to keep costs down, be as volume-based as possible.
It's very American. It's very middle of the road. Super Bowl salsa. Not a salsa. They have their place, just not very Mexican.
Good and Gather, restaurant-style salsa.
It looks like pizza sauce. Very blended.
This one looks like a salsa that's a condiment.
Terrible. It's definitely cumin in there. No heat, no acidity.
If you pureed the Mission, this would be it.
One jalapeno is not as spicy as the next one.
When you're cooking in the restaurant, you're tasting all the way as you go. When you're baking something in a big batch, you can't do that. So it's very hard to get the consistent spice level. This one, however, has no spice at all.
Good and Gather. Is this a Target brand? Oh my God.
Restaurant style? Not my restaurant.
Anaheim peppers, pasilla peppers, and jalapeno peppers, which I don't get those layers of flavor in here. I just get tomato puree.
Chi-Chi's, thick and chunky salsa.
This looks like the last three.
Salsa deja vu.
It tastes like the last three.
Very sweet up front.
There's garlic. I taste the garlic. This one doesn't have any detectable heat on it.
Like no chile flavor at all.
Texturally, I guess it's nice because it's holding together as something chunky.
And I think the ingredients were probably diced instead of like crushed. You feel like the bite into the ingredient. You feel the bite into the tomato. It maybe means that they also use that calcium chloride.
Does not taste fresh.
You're really gonna just dip it mindlessly. It's not gonna excite you. You're not gonna think about it.
Just the basic salsa.
Chi-chi's thick and chunky. Let the fiesta begin. There was not a fiesta in my mouth.
It's medium. It says medium. It's not spicy at all. The medium on the Tostitos is the right medium. Like that's a medium.
Let the fiesta end.
La Fundidora, Fuego Salsa.
Finally, something a little more interesting, right?
There's obviously tomatillos in this one because there's a lot of little seeds.
Tomatillos come in a husk and they're green and really bright and firm. Tomatoes, you actually look for the sweetness and acidity balance, whereas tomatillos are gonna be like crunchy and acidic and bright.
So I think this one is tasty. It's not as spicy as I thought it was gonna be.
There's like a rich earthiness or smokiness to it that's a characteristic of our dried red chili.
The texture is consistent,
It's more like a taco salsa. I would say scoopability down to a 1 or a 2.
very balanced, but it's very flavorful.
Got a lot of smokiness on the front. I'm getting a lot of garlic. It's got a decent acidity. To add acidity, another way to do that naturally is to use tomatillos.
But it's a good balance. I would say it's hitting all the notes.
This sort of makes me dream a little bit, and that's a good sign.
I've seen this one before. Fuego salsa. Yeah, I've seen this before.
Their ingredients are great. Tomato tomatillo is the second ingredient.
White onion, guajillo, garlic, arbol chile, and salt. That's it.
I guess the tomatillos are giving them enough acidity.
So they can take the place of like a vinegar or lime juice or citric acid in a salsa.
It's guajillo and arbol. Amazing. So guajillo comes from the mirasol pepper, probably the most colorful dry chile. It's very like bright red. Then the arbol chile, probably the spiciest dry chile that you have in Mexican cuisine. If I see arbol on a salsa, I know it's gonna be spicy. I do feel like they could have used more arbol for this one.
This is one of those where as you get more bites, you start to enjoy it more because of the different layers in there.
It's very, very tasty.
On the border, medium salsa.
Doesn't look very promising.
Watery, a little chunky, same color.
Balance of flavor, higher marks than the Pace or Tostitos or Mission because it's not as sweet. But I tasted tomatoes. There's also something smoky in there.
Right up front, you're tasting dehydrated onion, dehydrated garlic.
There's not enough heat in there. There's a decent amount of salt.
Texture is not bad. Like the tomatoes are firm.
A little watery while also being chunky.
They're rustically cut, so they're not like little tiny cubes. So they're trying to go for a more fresh look, but it doesn't taste fresh.
On the border. This is one of those Southwestern chain restaurants, right?
Once again, so we have a salsa that's letting you know that it's an American salsa.
Natural flavors. Natural flavors could be anything from like vanilla or lime zest, something that could be adding the smoky flavor, or I've just had too many salsas.
Not the worst one, but not a fan.
Cholula, Salsa Verde.
Time for green.
Criteria for salsas verdes is very different. So you're looking for a tangy profile, something sharp and bright, not so fruity and sweet like with the tomato.
But definitely still something kind of earthy and with some heat. Green salsas tend to be more of a pureed salsa. The tomatillos are blended in with the chiles because it can incorporate into all the flavors and add this wonderful roundedness when everything gets mixed together.
Usually made with tomatillo, it naturally imparts that balance of acidity to the salsa.
It's tart. You get the tomatillo flavor for sure. Doesn't have much spice.
I feel like there's a little thickener in it. The mouthfeel is a little thicker than I would anticipate of a regular salsa verde.
You can taste the herbs, you can taste the tomatillo, but it's not spicy at all, and I think it's missing salt. It's a little bland.
This one's pretty vinegary. It reminds me of that Cholula that we had a while ago.
Cholula green.
Oh, I like this.
Cholula salsa verde mild. Now that I know that it was mild, my expectations change because it's doing what it says on the label.
And then it's very simple, like tomatillo, jalapeno, onion,
It has dehydrated cilantro. They're getting the green out of poblano peppers as well,
and then they put xanthan gum, which is a thickener.
which you can see. It's almost like marmalade, right? And a tomatillo salsa would be very liquid.
I've had a lot of better green salsas.
Herdez, roasted salsa verde.
Roasted, you can see the dark specks. It has some red specks that I'm assuming is from some kind of pepper.
It tastes pretty fresh. It's quite acidic.
The tomatillos are bringing a really nice brightness to it and the tanginess. There's a very mild, lingering heat that builds up from the chiles. Texturally, I like this.
I don't mind the chunkiness of it, but like you can tell the tomatillos have been cooked down or roasted because they're soft, right? There's no really texture to it, but I don't mind it. This one is a little better seasoned than the previous one. Is the Herdez one.
There we go.
So tomatillos and roasted tomatillo puree. Poblano pepper puree, roasted jalapeno pepper puree.
Poblano peppers tend to give bright vegetal flavor, something kind of green and grassy.
It's mild enough so you can eat it whole. That's why they use it for like chile relleno. And it tastes great roasted. Like when you roast it, it really comes. 2% or less of chile de árbol, which is probably the red specks that you see. They definitely do better salsa better than Roja, I gotta say.
Desert pepper, Salsa del Rio.
This looks like a lot of chile.
Uniform, it's just all green.
This salsa tastes more like the chiles that are in it than the tomatillos.
I would eat this. I would keep dipping in this. I would pour this on something.
It's not a bad balance. A little spicy, still wish it was spicier. Good acidity. I think it's easier to get away with the acidity level with a salsa verde than with a roja because you don't really need to add anything.
I don't think it gets a lot of points for freshness.
You don't usually see the skin falling off of a fresh pepper. None of these cuts look even. This looks like it was crushed. It could have been in a molcajete, it could have been by a machine, or it could have been by hand. A molcajete is basically a mortar and pestle, but it's a round volcanic bowl. Grinds and tears and pulls everything apart. So you're gonna get a lot more aromatics if you do it that way.
Nowadays, to be honest, how busy the restaurant is, everybody uses a blender.
So you just want to be very, very gentle with it because you can overblend it very quickly. So it's just be like a 1 or 2 pulse.
Desert Pepper Trading Company. I've seen this one at the store before.
Salsa del Rio, medium.
As green chilies as the first ingredient, which makes sense. You list the ingredient with the highest concentration in the product at the front. So this and the Herdez are 2 different products. The Herdez is more of a traditional salsa verde, very tomatillo forward, whereas this is more chile forward. This would be like a really great enchilada sauce.
Trader Joe's, Hatch Valley Salsa.
This almost looks like a straight chile product.
Chunky.
It tastes like it's just chile.
It's not spicy, but you can immediately taste like the hot chile.
Most people know Hatch chiles. That's not actually a chile pepper. It's a growing region in southern New Mexico, known for its really rich soil, and the amount of sun that it gets creates a brighter, hotter pepper.
Has good acidity, savory.
This does taste fresh. It tastes like a really great chile.
The textures are good. It's a little bit chunky.
The chile is firm enough. It's not too watery. This is like such a deep, wonderful chile flavor. This seems like this is meant to like showcase this chile.
Trader Joe's, Hatch Valley Salsa. It just tastes like that.
It does have some tomatillos in here and some lime juice concentrate, but first ingredient is Hatch chile peppers.
It's a pretty straightforward salsa, and it's also very traditional of the Southwest.
I love it. This one is good.
Xochitl, Chipotle Salsa.
Oh, it's smoky. Probably chipotle, so it's very smoky flavored.
You guys, this is a chipotle one.
Chipotle is jalapeno that's ripened and dried and smoked.
And then it depends on how far you take them in the smoking stage.
We need to add another criteria for chipotle sauces, which is the level of smokiness to it.
The chile is the main ingredient or the main flavor driver. It should be spicy, hot chile picante.
This one, to me, falls a little flat. It's very mild on the smokiness.
Xochitl.
It says medium, chipotle, authentic flavor, sun-dried chipotle peppers, and olive oil. Interesting. Maybe they like slightly fried them in the olive oil or something.
You don't rehydrate peppers with oil, but you toast them in it to bring out more of the flavor and to caramelize the chile. Dehydrated chipotle peppers at the end of the list, probably because you don't need to use a lot. It carries a lot of flavor in a small amount.
You could definitely cook like 10 dishes with this in a second.
Stonewall Kitchen, Pineapple Chipotle Salsa.
Oh my God, back to the chunky.
Now that I'm scooping the chip in there, I get a waft of smoke off of it, so there's probably chipotle pepper in here.
Oh my God, this is terrible. So it's like sweet as hell.
This has pineapple in it too. I'm not a huge fruit salsa fan.
Having a fruit in a salsa is very natural. Tomatoes are fruits, avocados are fruits. They're all fruits. Chiles are fruits.
This pineapple tastes like grilled or smoked, which reminds me of being at a barbecue, and I love that. This one's not balanced. It's not very acidic. It needs more salt. It's very sweet.
It has unexpected texture.
I can even feel the crunch of the onions.
But it's also watery, so if you pour it onto something, it's gonna just kind of fall off and just leave you with the chunks at the top. Stonewall Kitchen.
Pineapple chipotle salsa. It's so sweet.
This says mild on the side of it. I would prefer if this had some heat to counteract the sweetness. They've got pure cane sugar in here. Pineapple's got enough sweetness already, so I don't think it needed sugar.
Whole Foods Chipotle Garlic Salsa.
Looks like a ragu. It's a very thick sauce. I do smell the garlic and I do smell the chipotle on this one.
I get the tomato flavor. It's sweet, but it feels like a natural sweetness.
The texture is like a very, very pureed. It stays on the chip, but it's not like those tomatillo ones that were like marmalade.
Yeah, this is falling very flat as well.
What saves the salsa is the chipotle.
It definitely tastes the chipotle. Other than that, it's very boring.
Whole Foods. Whole Foods Chipotle garlic salsa. Smoky and savory. Not as savory as this label says.
You had hatch green chilies, which I can't taste at all in this one. And smoked paprika, I can't really taste that at all either.
I'm not really sure what that's doing to the flavor profile here because I'm not really tasting it.
It's unusual to see like things like paprika.
Probably since they're trying to do a mild version of this Chipotle salsa, they want to add the smoke without adding the heat.
For all of the beautiful packaging and the great copy, I find the salsa itself really underwhelming.
Frontera Gourmet Mexican Chipotle Salsa.
It looks like a tomatillo chipotle sauce.
I can smell the chipotle from here, so this one is probably more intense than the other ones.
You know, I'm ready for my taco.
Definitely the smokiest one we've tried, which I appreciate.
Chipotle is just so delicious because it has so many elements. The smokiness just will add almost to any dish. It's got the tanginess. You do taste the tomatillos right up front.
This one doesn't have as much spice as I would like. Chipotle peppers tend to be a little spicier. It's a jalapeno pepper that gets to spend more time on the plant, so it gets to build up more time to build that capsaicin and get to be a spicier pepper.
I only wish it was a little spicier and a little saltier.
Texture-wise, it's bordering on watery, but I think if you stir it up, it's nice.
Definitely has the freshness, really enough going on so that it, like you feel like you want to keep eating it.
The most interesting chipotle one we tried for sure.
Frontera Chipotle salsa.
Oh my God, it's crazy. This says hot. It's not hot at all.
Stonewall Kitchen Black Bean Salsa.
This looks like dog food.
This is like a bean and corn salsa. These are probably my least favorite kinds of salsa.
Not so traditionally Mexican, really, as a salsa. Just want to make sure that I taste every ingredient, that they're there, that they're present, and that they're relevant to the salsa.
I'd want something very specific texturally, that it's not gonna be mushy, that these beans are cooked properly, that the corn still has some crunch. Still gonna want some kind of heat from the chile, but an earthiness from the beans, and then a good crunchy sweet from the corn.
This is crazy. It's almost like a version of the chili.
I don't like this one. It's too sweet.
The corn is clearly being frozen. It's like frozen corn.
I don't think this salsa really tastes like what it looks like.
It's so vinegary that to the point that you're eating pickles. At least the beans are well cooked. The beans are okay.
Sweet and then tangy, and then you get crunch from the corn. Like, I don't even really taste the beans.
It's a little spicy, so it has some chilies in it.
I don't think that there's a balance here. I don't think it's good.
I don't know what this is for.
Stonewall Kitchen Black Bean Salsa.
Oh, it's the same brand of the pineapple one, right? Stonewall Kitchen. Also, it says black bean salsa. Those are no black beans.
Are these black beans or are they pinto beans?
They're definitely alluding to the hardiness of it being from the beans, because you're gonna have some protein, you're gonna have some fiber, it's gonna have body. But at what cost?
Thank you for letting me know this exists, I guess.
Desert pepper, corn, black bean, and red pepper salsa.
I can't believe like different brands said like, yeah, let's make this. I mean, these beans look darker. It might be actual black beans.
This is giving that cowboy caviar vibe, corn, beans, and roasted peppers.
This one tastes like beans, but honestly, what I really taste is vinegar.
I imagine this also has some kind of apple cider vinegar, because there's a tartness of vinegar, but with a sweetness at the front of it.
I don't know where this belongs. Like the flavor profile is so over the place, like it has no balance.
This one reads more of a salsa. The other one was so like hearty, just like it said on the label.
The corn is like niblets. The beans hard and have no flavor. The puree is, I don't know, like they took the worst jar of salsa they could find and just like threw it all together.
I mean, I think if you're lazy and you're at home and you want to make a chili, you add some like ground meat to this and cook it down a little bit, and you probably have some like decent thing to put over rice or something. But other than that, I think this is like completely useless. Desert pepper. Trading Company. Corn, black bean, red pepper salsa. Corn, black beans. These are actually black beans. Okay, I'll take that.
I wasn't a fan of their other salsa either.
Is there more brands of like, have you seen more like corn bean salsa?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Somos, salsa matcha, Mexican chili crisp.
Textbook salsa matcha. I love salsa matchas in general.
Salsa Macha is an oil-based salsa from Veracruz.
Usually starting with a really good oil, garlic, and then different kinds of nuts.
For the salsa matcha, I'm looking for a good quality oil.
But it also shouldn't leave a film on your tongue.
And then you're looking for the texture and the crunchiness of either the nuts or the seeds or both.
To taste the nuts and the seeds toasted and cooked, it shouldn't be soggy.
This is gonna have a completely different balance of flavor because you're not looking for the acidity. You're looking for something kind of smoky, toasty, earthy, and then a nutty flavor from it as well.
Delicious and messy. It's really crunchy.
There's a lot of sesame seed. That flavor is very strong. The pepitas are toasted. You taste a lot of toasted pepita.
The oil has flavor.
This is using a good quality oil because it's not sitting on my tongue. It's not saturating my tongue.
Pumpkin seeds are puffed up, which means that they're not burned. They're nice and crunchy.
There's a heat that starts to build up at the back of your mouth from the chiles, but it does have like an earthiness to it. Maybe it's a guajillo chili that they're using.
All in all, delicious.
Somos.
Because it actually says Mexican chili crisp bigger than salsa matcha.
Oh, that's unfortunate that they went and did that.
Made with avocado oil.
It's a good healthy oil and it's pretty neutral.
So it has guajillo and arbol.
They're adding the arbol for the spice and the guajillo for the earthiness.
I would have done it with some kind of chipotle or something like that, like a morita pepper. I associate salsa matcha with having a smoke, like a hint of smoke. With that being said, I think it's a good salsa matcha.
Chili, salsa matcha con cacahuate.
Peanut matcha, which is one of my favorites.
The oil has picked up a lot of the color from the chile.
Definitely the oil is very tasty.
It has all the chiles in there. It's spicier than the other one.
It's got a nice lingering heat that's building up.
This is a charred chile. They're chopped up, they're small. The balance is good, and actually the more you have of the actual chile, the more fruit you're getting. So you're getting a little bit of sweetness there.
It's hitting all the marks for me for what I want for a salsa matcha. This is probably gonna stick out as one of my favorites today.
Oh yeah, I've seen this one.
Chili, salsa matcha con cacahuate. Salsa matcha with peanuts.
It is chipotle, so they're very charred. I'm surprised that they're as fruity as they are.
Chipotle, morita, peanuts, and sea salt. That's it. No garlic, no onion, nothing. Yeah, very basic matcha.
Could eat this whole jar.
Now let's see which salsas our chefs like the most and the least.
I don't think I'll ever taste as many salsas at once again in my life.
My favorite one was the Trader Joe's Hatch Valley salsa. It had a very particular flavor and it just came up a very unique.
My honorable mention is definitely the Trader Joe's Hatch Green Chili Salsa because it's repping my home state.
My other favorite salsa would have to be the salsa roja, the Siete. It definitely brought some heat that I feel the other one were lacking.
The Siete was my favorite red salsa. It was smoky, it was balanced, it was spicy. It had a lot of different layers from the different chilies that they used. Second favorite was the chili, cacahuate salsa matcha. I loved the smokiness of it. I love the sweetness of it. I love the heat.
My favorite salsa today was the Fundidora Fuego because I love the interplay of the two chiles with the tomatillos. It was so balanced. It was so great. And then really for fresh, really the Jalapa jar was the most fresh flavored one that we had by far.
My least favorite salsa by far, Stonewall Kitchen corn and black bean salsa.
Just hated the whole category of the bean and corn salsas. Like, what is it?
The Mission, Tostitos, Chi-Chi's, Target brand family. They all tasted like the same thing and they all tasted like marinara. There's definitely some good quality salsas out there that are gonna stand up to something homemade or restaurant quality. You just gotta find them.